Grand Rising, everybody. Hope y'all are doing well. So, we're going to take a look at Genesis 9:3 and its correlation to hemp and the good news about hemp. Alright, so here we got Genesis chapter 9, and up here, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I gave you everything. And then it continues on to say some other things, but we'll leave that for another video. I want to focus on, and as I gave you the green plants, I gave you everything. In other versions of the Bible, it's referred to as the green herb, I believe. And there's probably some other translations as well, but that is what me and Pops has brought to my attention, and I agree with him, is hemp. That's what they're talking about with the green herb and the green plants and all that. I mean, everything comes from plants, but hemp in particular is the miracle plant. It has more uses than anything else that I've ever even come close to coming across, and that goes again, from industrial use to medicinal use. And then also just being a sustenance for food and what it does it's ridiculous. But anyways, so I've broken things down a little bit to give you guys a little bit of a better idea and some good news, because the times that we in, it's time to create, it's time to build. So we can do this with hemp, but it's also about the mentality that goes in, to the project and the teamwork and all that. But I've found that by, sharing good information about, the fact that there is such a plant that can do so much and so quickly, is inspiring. There's a lot of cool stuff that can come from this. A lot of these technologies that we have, that we like, that we enjoy so much, if they're created and designed a different way, they aren't so bad for us, for the environment, for everything. It's just the way that we've allowed these type of systems to operate and exploit things that's bad, and it's destroying shit. But it is what it is. It's for a lesson, so let me just go ahead and share with you guys what I created. So again, going into Genesis 9:3, even as the green herb have I given you all things, and there's over 10,000 industrial uses, technologies, whatever you want to say it, for hemp. In other translations, there's green plants, green herbs, and then so, as worded, God gave us all things in the green herb or plants. Hemp is a most versatile plant with an almost unlimited amount of beneficial properties. These beneficial properties go from being able to cure cancer and all types of diseases and sicknesses, and this is largely due to its globulin-Epstein content, and how globulin-Epstein, or GE, is so important, and how the level of GE is the most high, from what I've found, than any other plant known to man. And so it keeps and maintains and rebalances healthy levels of neuron activity and immune responsibility or reactivity. I'm going to do more information. I have stuff on my mom's computer that shows, why globulin Epstein is so important for the immune system, and also, the intricate details of hemp and all the nutritional values it has. Also something to keep in mind, it's hard to find, there's a lot of misinformation about hemp, and there's a lot of sources that don't share everything about it. So just keep that in mind if y'all are looking for it. But I'm gonna make another video sharing with you guys some research that I have saved on my mother's computer, but she'd be sleeping right now, so it's not available. Anywho, carrying on. So going back to what's going on here, my people suffer due to a lack of knowledge. And that is from Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. So it's a lack of knowledge. So again, we're bringing knowledge to the people to help alleviate the suffering. And this does go back to the starving children all over the world, and just poverty, sickness in general, all over. But it's really focused for the children, because we got starving kids out there that don't need to be starving. If more adults get on top of what can be done with hemp and the power of God, we can end these problems very, very, very quickly. But it takes teamwork, it takes us working together, it takes us getting over our bullshit, it takes getting over the obsession and attachment to money. It's a real big one here. We're gonna have to get over this money shit and sacrifice our material, not everything, but shit we don't need, in order to help out the starving kids. I mean, it's a huge spiritual, you know, the longer we let this happen, allow this to happen as adults who are the ones with responsibility and power, the bad, you know, it looks really bad on us. You know, it's karmatically fucking everything up. So it's time to just do what needs to be done. We have the plant. There's tons of angels all over the world that want to do this. You know, what else is there to do but to help things get better? I mean, we're gonna continue to watch shit crumble and fall apart. I mean, come on now. The Taliban are already taking over Afghanistan. I mean, shit's getting crazy, you know. But again, it's not about an eye for an eye. It's about turning the cheek and transmuting the situation into something different. So, going back to sharing the knowledge with the people, because that's why we're all suffering, is going to be a lack of knowledge. So we're here to help bring knowledge to the people to alleviate the suffering. Going back to the hemp and the gospel. So gospel, go, spell, go. Spell, green light, growth, going, God, Saint Germain, good news. So is that with so the good news, you know, is that with the right way of doing things, you know, righteousness, which is unconditional love, you know, and I can make a video on what I feel about and Pops feels about that, you know, because it can be viewed different ways, but, you know, anyways, carrying on, you know, and back to the 42 laws of Ma'at, you know, stem from ancient Kemet, also, or in association with source of book of Matthew, you know, which is in the good holy book, you know, the Bible. So good news. Hemp is a miracle plant. Look into it. You know, highly suggest and encourage for purpose of making everything and everybody better. You know, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do, but I do suggest and encourage you to look into hemp because it will make you and everything around you better the more that you apply it into your life. That with the gospel and the good news and the right way of doing things. So with this miracle plant, there is a responsibility with everything. And the responsibility with a miracle you know, is or are of divine power. You know, so we're talking about Godspeed, reality. You know, what would God do if he reincarnated into the flesh right now? It's an important question, you know, because there's a lot of talk, you know, on my channel and others right now about Joshua and him being God. And a lot of people have their own ideas about who God is, what he is, and what he'd be about, you know, and that's cool. I get it, and I've had my share of these ideas too. But fundamentally, you know, what would he do as his actions and his intent on the earth in the times that we are in? You know, being the father of all, you know, he would be looking at the children. I mean, come on. You got starving children out there that are not being taken care of. What could be more important than taking care of, you know, our offspring? So this is why it's so important that we start taking care of our offspring and acknowledge God for who he is as the Heavenly Father come here to help us all. And he does have the plans, he does have the spirit, he does have the energy, he does have the ability to connect and unlock that which has been, you know, I mean, that which has been distracting you from yourself, from being yourself, which is a child of the Most High, which we all are. We are all angels. So, okay, getting back to what I've wanting to share with you guys. So, he is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the last. You know, hold on a second. So this is also me saying, you know, my presumptions on, you know, this is my personal thing on whom I think God is. He would have a great passion for saving his children. And, you know, me knowing Pops, you know, one thing that you can say, his passion is, you know, it's something I've never seen before, man. Great passion, you know, and at times it's gotten him in so-called trouble, but that's what passion is, man. You know, it's a fire, it's a force it's a passing of ions, and sometimes, you know, it can blind us from being patient, you know, we can rush things and get burnt. But again, that's all just to help teach and tame us. And he, as I've said before, he's learning and growing as we all are. So, you know, and what do we suffer from? You know, again, going back to a lack of knowledge. So in good order to save his children, he must re-educate them. For forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. And this goes also back into, forgiveness, acceptance, and just being able to turn the other cheek, when people hit you or hurt you or do things that piss you off or you feel are against you. That verse right there, forgive them for they know not what they do, is very powerful. In fact, I think it's, if not the one of the most powerful ways to help neutralize a situation when somebody's hurting you, because it's really stemming from them, being hurt inside themselves. And if you let that hurt, hurt you, and then you go and take that hurt and hurt somebody else, you're just magnifying the hurt, and the evil essentially. So if you forgive them because they know not what they do, meaning that they're really just taking their pain out on you and they're really in need of some love. So if you're able to diffuse that and transmute that and be like, yo, what's up? Just give them some love. That's really what they need. They're really calling out for love when they're calling out in pain, but you got to be able to be the bigger man and see that and not take it too personally. And this is a very, this is a message for myself because I, especially recently with, I've taken things personally. So, I'm still learning and growing too, y'all. But anyways, let me continue on. So, making hemp illegal. When you look at that word, ill is sick, and eagle, very similar to evil. Just throwing that out there. I think it was in 1937 they made it illegal. It was a powerful move by the enemy. And if you look at the word enemy, it's similar to enema, and I'm bringing this up so that people aren't so hateful against the enemy, that they're here for a reason to teach us. And also going back to forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, to stop retaliating. It's okay to defend, and we're fighting a war, so if people are attacking you, you have to, act accordingly. But, as far as hating people who are hating you and eye for an eye and all that bullshit, no, man, that's not what's going to clean this. That's going to wipe everything out. But the enemy is here to teach us that, and that's why if we continue to fight the enemy, you're not going to learn the lesson. You're just going to keep on perpetuating their fucking cycle of being what they are, so that we continue being what we are until we learn to stop fucking fighting them and grow from what they've taught us and, acknowledge who they are. And actually in the process, they're going to grow too. But, back to that word enemy and how it's like enema, and that cleans the shit out. But first one needs that which conflicts to create friction and excrete and grow from the shit or our soul waste, which is then turned into soil for from our bowel, which comes from our soul or sun. So, I threw a few words there. It is what it is. Again, it's just a simple thing about, learning about the knowledge of good and evil. And this enemy, what it really is not something to be, looked at like it has its place. It has to be respected. It has things to teach us as we have to teach it, That's all I'm trying to say. And I don't want to see people getting caught up in the distraction of wanting to retaliate because they feel like something's attacking them. You have to remember, if something's attacking you, it's because it needs to attack you. It's there to teach you a lesson. It's either there as a karmatic reoccurrence for something you did in the past, or it's there as a resistance because you're doing so good. But if you try to extinguish or annihilate that which is testing you, you can't really do it because it's a test. It's just going to come back in another form. But if you learn from the test, then you will have passed the test and succeeded. So that's why I'm trying to share with you guys these words on enemies and how, it's not about an eye for an eye. It's about turning the cheek, but also about fighting the good fight and not letting evil fucking triumph and standing up for what is right and for God and for love and the children that are sick and dying because they don't have the lack of knowledge, because a lot of adults aren't, spreading the knowledge. But it's okay. We're entering the time of Aquarius, so this type of knowledge, it's the time for this type of stuff to come out. So in doing, this is what we're doing. So it's all good. So again, continuing on, collective state of human soul family is sick. Is what it is, man. With these many people dying and everything going on, there's a lot of us that are sick. It's okay. So our souls are polluted. We need remedy, as does our home, the earth, or our heart, as home is where heart is. What what's it to say if we destroy our home, the earth, don't we then too destroy our hearts, our love, our connection to God? This is why, the whole idea of just letting things destroy, and even Pops will talk about how, and he's mentioned this so many times, it's another reason why I'm bringing it to you guys, because he's always about relinquishing from the disaster from which he said he would do. And I think a lot of times he's emphasized that so much because he realizes just by wiping everything out isn't solving the problem, And to be honest, the way he's told me, it's like, what type of God am I if I created all this shit and I just destroy it all? That's not what a real creator does. A real creator is helping to cultivate life, to help teach, to help share, to help preach, to help reach people, So again, we're not here to destroy everything. We're here to teach a lesson. Now, there's going to be fights and battles and struggles and conflicts and whatever, but that's all good and dandy. It's fine. That's what makes things interesting, to be honest. But, again, there's levels of interaction and destruction and conflict and this and that, and there's ways to go about doing it. There's a right way to engage your enemy, and there's, you could say, a wrong way or less respectful way or a lower vibrational way to, deal with people who are attacking you. That would be an eye for an eye way. We're more about defense and being an example and teaching from afar with the power of the Most Highs. Because when you have the power of the Most Highs, nothing can really fuck with you. But you really got to be about the Most High way. So, again, like going back to knowledge. You got to get your knowledge on. You got to know who the fuck you is. You got to know what's really going on in the world and how energy and stuff really works. So that's what we're doing here, is sharing knowledge to help alleviate the suffering of the adults, which will then help alleviate the suffering of the starving children. So, and again, if or when God incarnates into flesh, what do you think he would do? Where would his priorities be? I ask these questions because, again, we've been talking about Joshua a lot and God, and people have a lot of preconceived conceptions of what they think God is, but on a simple level, what would he do? Like, I'm curious, what do you guys really think he would do? How would you go about, saving the starving children? And I'm also making this video because, yes, I did recently find a channel with a very, very interesting entity, human being. I say entity because, largely we are a spirit. We're energetic beings, using a human vessel. So, more originally, it would be safe to say that we're all entities. So, I say that not out of disrespect, but as a respect for, just the most original thing that we all are, which is, an entity. So, but I did find this channel called God, Man in the Flesh. And, the entity, talks about being the King of Kings. So, I left a comment there, saying that Pops would love to talk, and that we really be here to help the children. And she's also talked about helping the children. So, or I said she because, I pick up on a feminine energy when I listen to her. Again, I want to call her a her, but I'm pretty sure it's a man. Again, I mean no disrespect. I have no judgments towards transgender, whatever. It's all your all's choice. I'm just here to help spread the message and the knowledge, not to judge. So again, I'm saying this because my energy picks up on, female energy, and that's fine. It is what it is. But I do sense that she has a desire to help out the children, and I appreciate that. My hat goes off to her. And, if she really wants to collaborate or wants to collaborate at all, we would like to. Yes, we want to collaborate with anybody that wants to help the children. And, I'd love to hear her ideas, or hear her ideas on our ideas. So I think I'm going to send this video as a link to her YouTube and, see if there is a response. So, alright guys, I know this video has gone on a little bit longer than usual. Again, I'm just giving you guys some more visuals. But, again, later today I'm going to drop that video showing more of my accumulated research on hemp and the nutritions and I also have a lab report done by somebody who had, some type of a lab. I forget exactly the details, but they're in the they're in the document I saved. So I will be sharing that in a little bit. And with that being said, I love you all. Hope you guys have a great day. All right, bye.